Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. It's day 2 of the DreamHack Open in Rocket League. $50,000 on the line. We started with 16 teams today, and we're already saying goodbye to a few. We just had an awesome match there between NRG and Method. NRG able to take Method down to be the first team to advance to our top 8. There's the trophy all these teams are fighting for. And the action is just going to continue and continue and continue. All best of 5s today as we're trying to find out which 7 teams are going to join NRG plus Torment tomorrow in our championship bracket. I'm Axel Toss, joined here on the desk by Gibbs and Achieves. And we're going to keep the matches rolling here. We're going to be going to another winner's match. This time it's going to be between PSG and Equinox. Of course, PSG was the first match that we saw today. Played pretty well. Equinox, I was actually talking to Jacob a little bit in between games there, and he's feeling pretty confident. But setting up another stage, and to keep everyone reminded of the group, this is a group involving PSG, Equinox, Ghost, and London. Ghost was able to take down London in the elimination match, but they had to reverse sweep to do it. So pretty intense stuff happening there. But here we go. PSG versus Equinox. Winner moves on to tomorrow. The loser will drop down to play against Ghost.
And PSG, they look pretty scary. That first series was commanded from them towards the end of it, which is where it gets scary. Games 4 and 5, PSG looked in full control. That's where Equinox is going to have to worry, because these Europeans might take out both North American teams out of this group.
Well, they certainly could, but like you said, it took them a little bit to get going, but I think that actually might help them moving into this series versus Equinox, because Equinox is also a pretty brand new team comparatively, and I think PSG have taken that first series to really settle into day 2.
And one of the star players for me is not only Bluey, but Chaussette. Watch out for him when he has time with the ball. He makes some incredible plays. He had one pass play to himself off the wall in the last series, but watch out for him. Don't give him space. He's normally the 3rd rotation, but he can do some damage on the offensive side, so you don't want to give him any space whatsoever. And this is the first time we're also going to be seeing Equinox. First time we see Jacob on a brand new team. And it's weird, he just saw his old teammates advance to the bracket stage. He wants to do the same here. And once again, North America, they already won one group. They're looking to win 2 groups in a row again.
Crazy. What's going on?
Here's Chrome. Watch out for him. He's going to be going for bumps like crazy, but he's scoring a lot more goals right now with Jacob. We saw him in the DreamHack qualifiers and some Tain Opens. Chrome is doing work, and Jacob, the new addition right now, wearing a Space Jam shirt. I think he's ready to go with that. So I like that. And then, of course, Corrupted G. He participated in, what, like 80% of the goals for Denial, or I'm sorry, for this squad the last time around when they were FlyQuest and all the other team names that they had. But Corrupted G, he doesn't have to do as much now. That workload is kind of like, all right, Jacob, you can do some, and Chrome is now getting involved, so this team is getting a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, it really is curious to see how much Jacob can really provide in terms of offensive chances, because for a while, that was what he was really good at over on NRG.
I do not know what's going to happen here. I need the help from the Twitch chat. So Twitch chat right now, tell us what's going to happen, because I don't know anymore. Hashtag PSG if you think PSG is going to win. Hashtag Equinox in the Twitch chat if you think Equinox is going to take this down. I think this is incredibly difficult to call. Both these teams are incredible. The only prediction I might make here is that it's going to game 5, to be honest. But Achieves, let's start with you, man. What do you think is going to happen here?
Back to Europe.
Okay.
NRG looked good, but I know what those 3 guys are capable of. Haven't seen too much of Equinox, and I can't give them a solid vote of confidence here against PSG.
That's exactly why I'm choosing PSG as well. We haven't seen Equinox here yet. It's a little bit of unknown, but PSG really impressed me. Games 4 and 5, they seem to adapt and play really well, so I expect that to continue here. I'll give it let's go 5 games. It seems like everyone's going 5 games lately. We'll go 5.
We're just at that point in the tournament where all these teams are just so evenly matched. It literally could go either way. I have to go with PSG as well here, just based on how well they're playing this tournament. And, you know, it's a team that I'm always looking out for to really make a deep run in tournaments. It's just the threshold that I'm looking out for is like, when can they be truly comfortable in that live environment? And they just had a match on stage, right? And they just won on stage. So I feel like that might weigh into my decision to go with PSG. I want to see the Twitch chat results to see what the population thinks of those of you watching the stream. 57%.
A lot closer than last time.
Of PSG over Equinox there, 43%. I think Gregan and Shogun are still standing by there on the commentator desk. Gentlemen, we need some more thoughts from you guys. We have the Twitch chat leaning towards PSG. We're all thinking PSG. Is PSG going to be able to pull it through here?
Well, we haven't seen Equinox yet. That's the big question. We want to see what they're like. Jacob, previously on NRG, known for his spicy plays, and hopefully we'll get some of those.
I mean, I spoke to Jacob a long time yesterday, and I've spoken to him today, and he seems to be going between like the worst player on the pitch and the best player on the pitch. That's how he described it to me, so it's probably going to depend on how he's doing.
I love how unpredictable all of this is. So I'm just going to sit back and relax and enjoy the docile, wonderful tones of Shogun and Greg. And gentlemen, take it away.
That's the first time.
I've never been called docile in my entire life.
That's a new one. It's normally rugged or manly or... I won't go any further.
I like you. Keep the compliments coming. But let's see if these two teams are going to complement each other in the next few games. I feel like as a play style, this is going to be a very interesting one to come across, as PSG have been actually incredibly solid overall. They've been very good at noticing trends in their opponents and adapting to them. That was really how they picked up their win earlier on today, is just noticing what Ghost Gaming was doing and changing their approach based upon that. But we've also seen Jacob, and if his teammates can't usually prepare for him, how is PSG going to be able to prepare for him?
I mean, historically, Jacob was one of those players where you didn't know what was going to do, but you assumed that Fireburner and Garrett had an idea, and that was why they always seemed to work. But now, Jacob's got two new teammates in Chrome and Corrupted G. Will they be able to read him as well, and will they be able to add their own to the team? I mean, they're quality players in themselves. I think we're not giving them enough credit here.
Well, Corrupted G is a player of ludicrous quality. Last season, the highest shooting percentage out of anyone, all the way up there as well, with goals per game, with barely any people trying to deliver the ball to him. So if his team can get him into a good shooting position, he can cause major damage to PSG.
As we see that white foam hat, we saw it yesterday with Jazer as Jacob gets his debut on this DreamHack Open stream. And the Breakout, I think that's the first time we've seen that card.
I have bad memories of Breakout, because every ranked player I've seen with Breakout has not been a nice person.
Wait, including Jacob?
I don't play ranked with Jacob because we just lose. We've lost like 7 games in a row. We decided against it. It's Bluey over in the corner. Corrupted G happily try and clear away. Those corners always difficult positions to really make a play from. Bluey leaving the ball over to Farah for the backboard. So that is covered. Equinox finding themselves on the defensive to start off the beginning of this game.
Bluey,
yet again.
no,
Bluey can get the double tap, can't quite turn it in. And Farah being taken for a ride by Jacob, who can now get the ball up the wall. Chrome has got options downfield, and his favorite option is himself, but 2 players back for PSG. PSG's rotation has been much better ever since the new year. And it's something that they were really lacking originally, but they've been fairly consistent with it ever since. Jacob, he's got very good options with that flat car. Wants to play the ball all the way out, but Chrome will not be there since the ball was cut away from him before the shot could happen. Out the backboard. Farah wants to clear to the side. PSG not necessarily challenged on their attempts to escape, because Equinox just want to wait for the ball to come to them before flinging it back over. Farah looking for Bluey, but Jacob is in the way. Bluey can still get contact. He's got the setup to Farah. Nobody saw Bluey. He was left unmarked. And that is 1-0 to PSG.
As soon as that ball was put into the middle for Farah and Bluey to 2v1 Jacob, you had to ask a miracle out of that man. And this, as you said, Bluey was in the blind spot of Jacob and just reset up his teammate Farah. And that puts PSG in the lead. And what a classic way to do it. Chazette at the back, while his 2 teammates are incredible together. Just so good to watch. And they link up beautifully.
Shot from Corrupted G, a little bit weak. Won't necessarily trouble PSG's defense before the ball just gets pitched all the way down to the other end of the pit. Chazette, run boy run, because Chrome was searching for the demo. And now Equinox would have really liked to have turned that into offense, but a great clear from Bluey will mean that they can't really cause too much damage. Chrome trying to get there first. Jacob with the setup. It's up high. Chrome is still on the backboard. He can flick this one straight out to Corrupted G. It's always going to be very difficult to achieve anything with that, though. PSG just keep clearing their lines. Chaussette now removed from the pitch. Jacob forced to now turn. It'll be him versus Farah. Farah's first touch very heavy, but this follow-up challenge was pretty good and leaves PSG safe.
We were speaking about it last series of a lot's role in that team of being the one alone while his 2 teammates are either back or forward. And from what we've seen so far, it seems like Jacob's doing a similar thing. If his 2 teammates are back, goes upfield.
One-on-one, Corrupted has to get the save.
Yeah, goes upfield, and obviously if he is back, his 2 teammates are willing to go forward. It works very effectively, but puts a lot of pressure on him as an individual.
The corner, Jacob now. After another clear, Equinox have been very wasteful of their possession so far, and that's been caused by a lack of boost. So no options really for them to play into, let alone set up a goal-scoring opportunity for themselves. Bluey might just set up Corrupted G himself. That is going to be very dangerous. The follow-up coming in from Jacob, not on target, not quick enough either. As Jacob following Chaussette yet again, but that's not where the danger is, Jacob. The danger's down your end as the follow-up from Ferrer put low into the net. PSG 2-0 up.
As we went on board with Corrupted G there, he was in an awkward position. He knew Bluey was going to win out that challenge because his teammate was low on boost. Tried to get on the backboard, tricked himself up, and that allowed Ferrer to shoot on what was pretty much an empty net, and that puts PSG even further in the lead. Not only in goals, but in control. They're just looking so much better.
Another question is going to be PSG's clock management. Ferrer off the backboard gets an extra touch. A lot of their games earlier against Ghost, they weren't even really that far in the lead. I barely think they ever got a 2-goal lead. That was at least kept for a significant amount of time, so this will be a very interesting part of their play for us to take a look at. Ferrer off the backboard yet again, but Corrupted G is already there. Shot from Bluey, saved into the crossbar by Jacob. Still 1 minute remaining, and Equinox have it all to do.
1 minute, yes. We are expecting PSG to be a little bit stronger compared to the 2 games we saw before. I would definitely say this is the one which we'd expect to go more in favor of a single team.
I haven't seen Bluey and Ferrer double commit yet. I've seen Chaussette and Ferrer double commit, but not the usual suspects.
Yeah, that's a good sign for them as they're going forward, but we know that Equinox have been doing well in the tournament so far, undefeated. Beat Flipside earlier on and also London Esports just prior to this, but this will be their biggest challenge yet. Yeah,
there's certainly an argument to be made that they've had a slightly easier run through the tournament compared to some other teams. Their first major challenge up here. London forcing them to a 3-1 victory. Almost taking game 2 as well. Chaussette wants to get that over. That's going to be tipping its way towards the net, but with time running out, Equinox not only struggled to put an offensive chance forward since the 2-goal lead, they've really struggled to put too many offensive chances forward the entire game as PSG all over the pitch in game 1.
Looking very, very comfortable on stage as well as in-game, and there is a question now for Equinox. Can you mix it up? We saw the adaptability of PSG earlier on. They didn't really present anything that game. PSG didn't have to do anything too dangerous. Equinox didn't really do anything too scary. So I think we're going to see a similar series next time, and it's up to Equinox to make the next move. How are you going to change the next game?
Question for you, Gregor.
Yes?
We're currently seeing Jacob in that breakout. My question to you is, should he change away from it? Because a lot of the time, Equinox are simply not winning midfield challenges, and that might partially be down to the flatter and smaller hitbox of the breakout.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can change in this game, and I think card choice is one of those ones. It's got to be how you feel. And if Jacob's feeling the breakout at the moment, he can stick with it. We've seen him go through Octane phases, Batmobile phases, Dominus phases.
I think he's got... Actually, no, Squishy probably has a more varied card choice because he basically played every single game ever against NRG last season.
Had a bit of fun with that.
Jacob, where's the Proteus? Come on, man, you're barely trying for us.
But yeah, I think in terms of challenges, Jacob wasn't necessarily part of that many. He was finding himself in a lot of space and having to try and ricochet that ball towards teammate or shoot the ball hard. And if he's consistently hitting it with that breakout, then stick with it. This game, they need to work out how, as a team, they're going to form some pressure.
Well, Jacob's going to be starting off. He's going to take the ball the entire way, but he's immediately challenged by Chaussette. He's actually up high. Looks to try and tap that one down, but couldn't quite time it right. Chrome now trying to find some sort of setup, but Jacob was still in an offensive position, so Corrupted G thought better of trying to move forward for the attack. And now PSG put themselves into a very good siege position overall. They controlled 2 middle boosts. Bluey looking to try and get down just in time. These long clears will only leave PSG in a good position to lock the ball up high, although it was a little bit too loose there from Ferrer, offering Corrupted G a chance to try and clear away. More passing plays attempted from PSG, just not quite having the accuracy. And the demo on Ferrer will actually give Equinox an opportunity to move forward, but it was only fleeting. Corrupted G, once again, forced to keep the ball away from Bluey. PSG all over them to start off this good game.
We've seen some good touches coming out from Equinox. Chance here now. Corrupted G, known for his shooting.
Shot after shot going towards the net. None of them getting through, though.
Yeah, just sending that one in a little bit too weak. He needs to power that one to test the reaction speed of PSG, and that shot's going to be on net. And flailing defense now from PSG. They really need to find themselves more comfortably in position with boost.
One mistake from PSG on the rotation immediately meant Equinox could go forward with their offense, but Ferrer only needs one.
We needed to see Jacob pop this up. He found himself underneath the ball, couldn't quite get a touch on it, misread it off of that. Yeah, misread the bounce, but Ferrer knew exactly where that one was going. Power shot that one, point blank range. PSG go up once again.
It's actually a very annoying part to try and play against, especially when you're a defender. If it catches part of that corner, that really varies the bounce. As an offensive player, you've got the entire pitch. You can run on, you can change your direction. As a defensive player, you're already pretty much under the ball. You haven't got much you can change. Not only that, but you've completely lost your momentum.
Yeah, and I've been a bit worried with the way Equinox are positioning themselves around the ball. They are putting themselves in awkward positions where they rely on their ability to read and use their mechanics to get to that ball. And if they get a slight misread, then that ball is going to be missed and they could get scored on. That's exactly how they conceded that first goal.
Ferrer can take his time, leaves enough time for Jacob to move forward for a challenge. Every single time PSG is reaching the ball first in the race to try and pick up the loose scraps. Ferrer now has got Bluey to the side of him. Only one player around. Goes for the block instead. Reads the game incredibly well. Midfield pass. Here comes the shot. There it is. Ferrer. We see score through the smoke. 2-0 to PSG.
As that smoke disappeared, you did not want to see PSG hitting that towards the net if you're an Equinox fan. As Ferrer gets gifted the goal there. I think that was going in despite his touch, but still he confirms it on the goal line, and that is just purely down to a smart decision by Ferrer. Low on boost, rather than going for a crazy touch, just looks for centering.
PSG have barely ever gone for a wasteful touch in this series, very often going for passing plays, even when not necessarily needed or even really that dangerous. Somewhat obvious what they've been trying to learn throughout the off-season. It's even how they started off the games against Ghost. Corrupted. Gets blocked by Bluey yet again, who's got another dunk. And yet again, Bluey reading his opponents has set up PSG for a goal. I
take back what I said about that breakout. Lost out a huge challenge there, which put all the favour into PSG. Used that backboard effectively, and Chazette cleanly strikes that one in. We've mentioned before, backboard touches are less effective these days, but in that case, when you power hit it in at 110 kilometers an hour off the backboard, you're not saving that. Poor Chrome trying to read it.
Josette, lovely flick up to Bluey. PSG are in control of every single inch of the field. 4-0, 2 minutes to play.
Oh, look
and
at
Equinox
that
need to change everything.
Just so much flow, so much synergy as they use the backboard, the back pass, the pop into the middle, and the finish from Bluey. Just running rings around this Equinox team. And if you didn't think it was going to be more in favour of PSG after that first game, you are now.
PSG look like they've made strides during the off-season. Usually a team based around speed, around just trying to keep every single player on the opponent on their toes as everyone tried to make individual plays. This season, or at least what we've seen so far in this tournament, passing left, right, up and down, taking the ball away from Equinox, who have been mere spectators so far in this series and need to find a way to shut down the onslaught that PSG are putting towards them.
Just notice Equinox, when they get the ball, they take it forward with not much thought of how they're going to use it.
Oh, another touching pass. Can't quite get it in. Equinox need to start pretty much from the beginning. Corrupted G flicks up for himself. Hasn't quite got the boost to follow up. Bro and Jacob both committed to the same ball. Chaussette sets it up for Bluey. Bluey recognizing that two players were committed earlier. Plays the ball long, follows up with his own touch. Chrome is there just in time, but it would have just been a fifth goal. 4 goals is the there, words are hard, Dragon. Difference as 1 minute remains.
Difference isn't hard.
Difference is a hard word. No one can say the word difference.
You just said it twice.
No, I'm inconsistent, okay?
You need to make a difference there and improve your consistency. PSG, though.
Incredibly consistent.
Yes. What a segue as we see them setting themselves up into the middle. And I think these final moments, we know what both teams are thinking. Equinox are thinking, what do we have to do? How can we defeat this PSG team? And likewise, PSG are going, what do we need to do? The same, over and over again, because it's working so effectively.
Jacob wants to go the entire length of the pitch, but every single time he's involved in a challenge, he is getting beat. In fact, I feel like it would be unfair to point towards Jacob for that one. That is every player on Equinox right now getting beat on every single challenge. It's meant that they've barely been able to sustain any offense. Ferrer will just put the ball up high as we come towards the end of game 2. And PSG in full control. Things need to change. They need to change now for Equinox.
Indeed, Equinox needs to be a bit more creative with how they're using that ball. They take it forward, they don't really see an option, and then they get challenged by PSG, and then they lose that possession. Look to hit it sideways, look to hit it to your teammates, and look to save boost so you can be a bit more effective with everything you do. As far as PSG goes, I'm loving watching this Rocket League right now. They are doing some incredible team plays, and their defense is looking impenetrable.
Yeah, it's been almost exhibition match sort of plays from PSG, going for stuff that you usually don't see at this sort of level, but that's how comfortable they feel. Happy to just find one another. We've seen a couple of triple commits downfield, but because they're so good at finishing off the plays, it doesn't really matter all that much. As you see, he had another passing play.
That was the best goal.
That's just sublime, that really is.
It doesn't look tough, but when you really think about every touch they made there was 4 or 5 consecutive touches that had to be point perfect to find each other out, and they did so. And now, I'm expecting them to loosen up a bit because they are a team that shows off. When they're playing well, they show off. We know Bluey in the past has done that. We've done smaller lands in the UK, and once he knows he's going to win, he starts to try and do some fancy things. They just need to play the same again. They can't take any risks and start loosening up.
Game number 3 looms upon the horizon. We head over to Wasteland. Equinox have to reverse sweep PSG if they want to move on to the next round. Otherwise, they will be put down to the losers bracket and potentially go out if they cannot win that match. Still, plenty of Rocket League left to play. Chrome by himself against Farah goes in field, and Farah almost had like a third eye there. Didn't even play the 1v1, knew the pass was coming.
Smart, he saw the player turning around that ball, trying to hit it sideways and readjust his car to intercept the pass. And it's when things like that happen, you start worrying as a player, because you think, what have I got to do to get it past them? You need to start thinking of new ways to do it, but infield passing,
off the backboard,
just not working out for them there.
Been in a position that PSG have scored many a goal from, even in E-League. Just playing the ball up to a player who is on the backboard and just slamming the ball into the net. Powerful clear. Chaussette will be the first player to it. Goes straight over to Bluey. Chaussette off the backboard. That's a missed touch, and Farah could follow up. Corrupted G puts the ball back towards his own net. He will be safe, however. And PSG resuming where they were in game 1. That is a huge mistake from Equinox. That should never go in.
Yeah, you just see Corrupted G put his head on the desk as he has disappointed himself after that. A very simple save to make. Bluey in off the side, and you just see there he jumped off the wall, and as he jumped, gravity took effect and he fell, and he didn't quite prepare for that, so therefore dropped below the ball, and it does go in. You can't let goals like that in against PSG, because even when they're not scoring dangerous opportunities, they shouldn't be given a goal.
Now the ball up high yet again, Jacob. If he does get a touch, it'll be only a small one. PSG immediately returning to the offensive side after scoring. Lovely touch from Bluey. Farah and Chaussette both committed. And then an extra touch. This could lead to Equinox having an offensive opportunity, but that is so wasteful. Another double commit, however, couldn't go in. PSG make a huge problem out of nothing.
I was concerned that Jacob going for that ball with 0 boost is going to be very easy to read, but too easy to read, meaning Bluey double commits. I think that was with Chaussette.
Yeah, Chaussette definitely had the touch, though. That was incredibly unnecessary for Bluey.
Bluey did not need to go that. He was looking to pass it back to his teammate, where Chaussette was convinced it was his, and that gives away a goal. So easy goals for both teams so far due to mistakes in defense. Now it's back to 0-0 essentially.
Oh wow, Farah gets punted towards the ball. That was Equinox's first goal in a very long time. Hopefully they can try and pick up some momentum from that now. The attempted passes play. Farah will score on a, well, it was Bluey actually that scored on the open net, but Equinox, another defensive mistake. 2 committed to the side, 1 going for a demo. No one thought to themselves that this could go wrong at some point.
Were you confused there for a moment and thinking, wait, which way is each team scoring? Because it looked like Equinox were trying to get blue side of that ball when they shouldn't have been.
I wasn't confused on teams, I was just confused in general, because none of that made any sense to me.
No, overcommitment hugely by Equinox. Player going for the demo, player looking for the upfield pass. And as soon as the player with the ball loses out, you're guaranteed to get scored on because no one is back.
Any momentum that Equinox did pick up from their goal has been quickly squashed. Farah challenges, he's actually set up Bluey to go off the wall. Oh, tried to go for the ceiling taps. In order to do it, you are not able to jump for the first touch. ends up missing the ball entirely. Corrupted G puts it down for Chrome. Shot,
good shot
is on target, just not enough power to seriously trouble PSG. Jacob, an orthodox back pass. That's going to make life very difficult for Equinox. Vera now up high. Going to go for the double tap. A little bit heavy on the first touch, however, means that he cannot follow up. Plenty of work for Equinox still to do as they try and find a way back into this game.
I do sometimes feel when Jacob's upfield that really, whatever you do, he will go for it. So you have to make sure that pass is good, because otherwise you lose him for a brief period. We need to see a little bit more decision-making from him, making sure he goes for the right opportunities, because otherwise his teammates are going to start getting isolated at the back.
Sounds a lot like an MMO. It's just like, I catch Jacob. Well, Jacob's now on cooldown for like 10 seconds.
Exactly, yeah.
PSG continue to put the pressure on. 100 seconds remaining in what could be the final game of this series. Chrome would like to say no to that, however, booms the ball downfield. Chaussette up high, finds the corner, but Chrome is already read it. Could be a good opportunity for PSG, especially after yet another commit from PSG. It seems like they play very well on the rotation when the game is fast, and they get very confused when the game slows down.
Yeah, what they don't know how to get that rhythm going, because they all get back so quickly, so much control in the way they land, and then they get back at the same time, and then who makes the save? If you're all there at the same time, you all just got to make sure you block it.
Oh, good opportunity. No one in the middle, though, as Bluey. It's a soft clear. Only over to the body of Jacob's car. Set up now for Corrupted G. Shot not on target. Bounces out very awkwardly. Shot almost hits the top right-hand corner, and PSG being forced to survive a quick ambush attack from Equinox. Every single shot could be dangerous. Off the backboard, follow-up from Corrupted G, and he will turn it in. Equinox have a chance here.
They've leveled the score, but this is just the start of a huge grind, because if they win this game, they've still got to win another 2, and we're definitely seeing a more relaxed, laid-back PSG here. They're allowing this Equinox team to put pressure on. Sometimes the best defense is offense. You've really got to keep pressure on in their half, and PSG, I'm sure, will be ignited now to try and do so.
Well, Chaussette has launched the ball up high already. Bluey to try and almost pinch the ball against the wall and his own car to force it straight down. Always a very difficult shot to try and pull off. In the background, Chrome has been removed from the game by Vera. Shot can come through from Bluey. It is that backboard yet again. PSG are in the lead.
You just see Corrupted G low on boost, tries to read it, and has to get the perfect aerial. Otherwise, it is opened up for Bluey, who does manage to finish that off. You cannot give opportunities like that to players of Bluey's caliber, as he will finish it every time, putting PSG back in the lead with 20 seconds left.
It's just that baiting sort of touch, isn't it? Where it's just within your reach if you can reach it, and maybe you'll be safe. But if you can't reach it, your goal is very open indeed as we head towards the final few seconds of this game. A couple of missed ball touches will not make this any easier on Equinox. 2 players committed. Jacob needs to do something with this. He's got the ball straight down, but no one to pass to. And PSG move on to day 2.
Our first sweep on stream of day 2. That is 3-0 to PSG. They are looking strong, comfortable, happy with each other's performance, and they deserve it because they looked very clinical throughout most of that series.
Equinox, they will have a second chance, but many things to improve as they will head into that match. Just seemed outclassed overall by PSG, who just look so much better compared to the last time we saw them. And those passing plays lethal across the board.
It's nice seeing these teams, no matter what the result. So much camaraderie in the Rocket League community. Every single player respects every other player, and I love that. Even in a big defeat like that, PSG, so strong though, and I'm glad to see Equinox get a challenge, because we wanted to know what their ability was going to be like at this tournament. Taking out Flipside, still a good result. Taking out London Esports, very much expected. That is what they're going to have to face if they continue in the rest of this tournament. There are no easy games for these teams.
Absolutely. So let us hand this over to our boys at the desk. Axel, what are you guys thinking?
Thank you, Shogun and Gregan. PSG methodically taking out Equinox, a 3-0 victory there, and I feel like they're kind of proving how good they are, and they're moving on to day 3, and they're doing a lot of what we've kind of always hoped that they would do. Yeah. Just playing some incredible Rocket League.
And Bluey, what a series there. It seemed like every single play was him starting something crazy, then it's a rebound out for his teammates to finish it off in games 1 and 2, and then let's just get a hat trick in game number 3 for Bluey as well. So Bluey was everywhere on the field.
Yeah, they definitely did a really good job. I mean, to me, the biggest thing was the boost control out of PSG. I felt like every time Equinox tried to push over onto the offensive side of things, they just didn't have a lot in the tank to try and really continue any attack they tried to set up.
Yeah, just a pretty convincing victory from front to end there from PSG. We have Farah actually standing by for an interview. Farah, welcome to the broadcast. Congrats on your victory. You're moving on to day 3. How are you feeling right now, man?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. It's like, it was a pretty stacked tournament, so it was really hard to get to day 3. We had some tough brackets, but we came out on top, and it's looking good for tomorrow.
So I don't know if you watched any of the Energy series versus Method. Do you feel like you guys would rather play a Method squad if they do advance? Because now you avoid Energy because you came in first in your group. Do you feel like you're a better matchup against Method or a better matchup against Energy right now?
I don't know, we never played that Energy lineup, and we had some game 5 against Method, and recently they beat us quite a few times, so I don't know. I would have probably rather played Energy, but we are fun with Method anyway.
Yeah, well, you guys looked pretty good. I mean, in our first interview with you guys earlier, you guys talked about how you worked a lot on that communication on defense. Did that really play into it today, or did you really, or in the second match, I should say, or did it really feel like you just got to flex the offensive muscles a little bit here?
No, we still have some problems in defense. It's not easy to fix because it's communication, and sometimes you just don't have any choice but to go up the ball, and it's the same for everyone. So yeah, we are trying to fix it, and I think it's getting better. I think we showed it on that last series,
yeah,
and
sure.
hopefully it will be better again tomorrow and to take it all.
Yeah, last question for you, Farah. A lot of pros talk about the feeling of being on that main stage, being the center of attention. How is that working out for you guys, especially, you know, Bluey and Chaussette? They're pretty young, and we always talk about, you know, how it might change when you get on that big stage. So how does it feel for you guys right now? Do you feel a little better being on that main stage overall?
I think we start to get used to it. I mean, we've played quite a few LANs already the past 3 months, so yeah, I think everyone is getting used to it, and it starts to actually pay off.
All right, well, we're going to see you back up there tomorrow. Congratulations, you're moving on to day 3. All right, that's Farah from PSG, very confident, and that's just kind of how they're playing right now, just smooth sailing on through into Championship Sunday. But let's take a look at some highlights from that matchup. PSG, once again, a sweep over Equinox.
And here we go, Bluey, he goes up for that 50-50 versus Chrome, sets it up perfectly for Farah, and Farah comes in, just cleans up, perfect shot placement as well, trying to hit it low, right around that goalie.
Yeah, and you were talking about it already. So many just really solid setups from Bluey. An unfortunate touch there from Jacob. That was Corrupted G's ball all the way to clear it, and I think just a little bit of scramble on defense.
But once again, there was chaos, and it was because of Bluey. Bluey is causing the chaos once again here.
Yep.
He dunks them, then Chaussette comes in, cleans it up. It's all Bluey right now. He's doing everything, and Equinox just had no answer. They didn't score for 11 minutes and 37 seconds. Then they finally got on the board, but then Bluey comes up with that hat trick in game number 3 and seals the deal, a 3-0 sweep, the first one we've seen today.
Yeah,
and PSG is looking extremely strong going into the bracket stage.
Now, speaking towards Equinox, guys, with that loss, they're going to be playing up against Ghost in an elimination match. Any initial impressions from that? We are going to be seeing that on the main stream. It's going to be 2 matches from now. What do you guys think about that?
It's tough because Ghost played better against PSG, but then
Yeah.
Ghost also had a harder time versus London, when Equinox had an easier time versus London. So it's anyone's game. It's going to be whoever shows up on stage will take it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the mental thing. I think Equinox could definitely give a strong show versus Ghost, but they really got to bounce back because this was a tough loss to take. Moving into an elimination game like that, you got to just wipe it out of your mind and just move on.
All right, well, guys, our next couple matches are going to be elimination matches where the loser's going to be out of the tournament. The winner's going to be moving on into day 3. Coming up next, we have Flipside going up against Method as the action continues here on day 2 of DreamHack Leipzig. Make sure you stay tuned and root on these teams, and make sure you get all your friends in here because we're having a lot of fun here at twitch.tv/DreamHack Rocket League. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's Flipside versus Method.